Hey everybody, it's Gail, and I am here with another set of shoes that I made. This little sandal here came from a pattern from the, everybody say it with me now, the 1970s. Although I think it might have been a reused pattern from the 30s. It's a set of, the pattern itself is a set of 3 different sandal designs, and they all look like they could have originally been done in the 30s, and there was a big resurgence of 30s style in the 1970s, and so anyway, maybe you care, maybe you don't. But these are made with, this is Lily Sugar and Cream, and you use a 3.75 hook, which is an F hook, and these work up super fast because, as you can see, there's not a whole lot to them. You work the upper toe box here with this little attachment piece. You have the heel piece here with the strap attachment, and then you sew the strap attachment to the top piece here, and it all comes together. And then you make jute soles, or soles of your choice. I have a pattern that I use when I make soles that I found on Etsy that I love. It'll be linked in the basement, along with a link to this pattern. If there is no link to this pattern, it's because I couldn't find it for sale anymore. You can always just hit me up and I'll send you a copy. Yeah, this was the actual process of making the upper took maybe an hour for each of them. And then of course the soles take me a couple of hours each because it's you make 4 soles and then sew everything together, and jute just wrecks my hands when I work with it, so I have to go slow and I have to be very patient. I have actually made the uppers of the other 2 patterns in the little pamphlet, but I haven't made the soles yet because they take so much time and effort on my hands, and I don't like the process of making the soles because it is so hard on my hands. So I dole it out, like every few weeks I'll sit down and I will make 1 sole, take a break, come back for the next one, take a break, come back. Like, it takes me 2 days to make them just because I don't want to do that to my hands all day. So I did have one little boo-boo I want to show you. There's the other one. Which is that the straps are going in the same direction. So this is the left foot one. This goes on the outside of the ankle, and this one, which is the right foot one, goes on the inside of the ankle. So I technically have 2 left shoes, but it doesn't really matter. You know, you put them on, they stay on, they're comfortable, it's fine. But I thought, I didn't think about thinking that through when I was sewing them on, because I was just concentrating on getting them put together. And like I did with the blue shoes a few videos ago, I sewed the toe box and the heel part into the top sole, so that all of the stitches holding that together are caught in between the 2 soles when I stitch the soles together, so that I didn't have to worry about wear and tear on the actual stitches holding the shoe together. So it takes about a half a skein of the big Lily and Cream, like the 200 skein balls. Took about half a skein. Really enjoyed making all 3 of them. Honestly, they're very similar, but they all have a little different bit of style, so I'm looking forward to putting the rest of them together. The last thing I need to do on these, now that I've gotten them on the soles and I've gotten the Velcro attached, and this is just sticky back Velcro that you can get at Joann, and I always like to put them on as a single piece. So I stick them together on a little plastic thing and then put a sticky back on one side, peel off the other side, press down on the other side, and then get a clothespin right here for a little while so that it really adheres well. Because these can fall off real easy if you don't get a real good adhesion the first try. But the last thing I need to do is get some tread on these, because there is none. I put these on with the costume they're intended for, and my ass slid across the living room. I made my hip very angry. So to do that, I am bringing an old friend back into the game. I got my shoe glue out. If you haven't worked with shoe glue before, it is a repair glue for shoes. I know a lot of people who use it for like work boots, dress shoes, like some, the nice shoes or the everyday shoes that are heavy duty that like the soles come a little bit loose. You don't want to have to buy a whole new pair of shoes. Go to Joann's, get the shoe glue. You can probably also find it like in that aisle at the grocery store where they have the sewing kits. I can usually find it there as well. It's been around forever, and it is a quality product. I think it's like $10 for a tube, and like a tube lasts ya. The last time I used this on the bottom of a pair of crocheted shoes, they were just yarn bottoms. They weren't jute bottoms, and the shoes themselves, I wore a hole in the toe of the shoe before the shoe glue ever fell off. So that is my big recommendation. It's also a protectant coating, so I'm actually going to try to paint the soles with the shoe glue. I've never been really great at it, but I would like to do that just because these shoes are going to go to Seattle with me for Emerald City Comic Con, and anything you can do to keep your feet dry during Emerald City Comic Con, big recommend. So I'm going to go do that, and like I said, everything will be linked in the basement if it's available, and if it's not available, just get a hold of me and I can get the pattern to you. No big deal. Yeah, and I think that wraps it. If you enjoy what I do here, as always, please like, subscribe, share, tell your friends, all that fun stuff. I have my website, icrohetedthething.com, linked down below, and on that website there is a vintage pattern errata for when I find mistakes in vintage patterns. This one didn't have any. And there is also a vintage yarns page that has, I think it's over 300 yarns at this point. It's like 320, where it is the name of a vintage yarn and then its weight, because that tends to be the most important thing that you need to know about working with a vintage yarn. There are some blank spaces on that table, so if you see one and you know some info, please send it my way. I would love to fill in those blank spaces. And otherwise, I update about every 10 days, so I will see you in 10 days.